Okay, we want to show you some things. This about your wife. When he sees this that her and Puffy was doing and who they were doing it with, I'm quite sure they gave his ass those tapes. And I'm quite sure he can never look at her the same.
In a dim prison phone booth, Suge Knight picked up the line and dropped a bomb. He wasn't talking about rap beef, money, or even Tupac. He was talking about Jennifer Lopez and what he says the FBI showed Ben Affleck about her past with Sean Puffy Combs. It's one of the wildest rumors in hip-hop right now, that hidden tapes, secret betrayals, and an FBI raid have uncovered something that could shake the legacy of three megastars. But is Suge spilling real truth from behind bars, or just rewriting the past to bury old enemies? Let's get into the mystery Suge claims is bigger than anything you've heard before. Diddy and J.Lo, the power couple. Before the FBI raids, before the tapes, before the rumors, there was just Diddy and J.Lo. Back in 1999, they were hip-hop's golden couple. Jennifer Lopez was skyrocketing, crossing over from Latin pop and rom-coms into full-blown global stardom. And Sean Puffy Combs, he was already the king of bad boy records, fresh off the Biggie era, throwing the wildest parties in the industry. When they linked up, the cameras couldn't get enough. Red carpets, award shows, exclusive parties. The chemistry was public, and so was the pressure. When J.Lo wore that now iconic green Versace dress at the Grammys, it wasn't just a fashion moment, it was a relationship milestone. Diddy was always there, smiling beside her, arm around her waist like they ruled every room they walked into. But behind the flashbulbs, things were getting messy. Rumors swirled about Diddy's other women. Lawsuits and legal problems followed him everywhere. For J.Lo, the music was taking off, the acting gigs were stacking up, but the spotlight was burning hotter every day. Still, the breakup wasn't coming yet. Something else was. December 27th, 1999. Inside Club New York in Manhattan, Diddy and J.Lo were celebrating with friends. Then, chaos. A drink was spilled, words were exchanged, and suddenly gunshots tore through the crowd. 3 people were injured. Police said a gun was tossed from the SUV Jennifer and Diddy were riding in. The pair were arrested. That image, Jennifer Lopez in a police precinct, handcuffed in a white coat, shocked fans across the world. J.Lo was released after hours of questioning. Diddy lawyered up, and Shine, the rapper who'd been with them, ended up taking the fall, eventually doing 9 years behind bars. For years, that was the end of it. A messy incident, a breakup, and a forgotten scandal. But now, Suge Knight says that was just the cover story. According to him, what really happened that night, and what was caught on tape, was enough to blow up a marriage decades later. The shooting, the setup, and the fall guy. The Club New York shooting wasn't just a scandal. It was a fracture, one that left careers shaken and one man in a prison cell for nearly a decade. That man was Shine, the 21-year-old bad boy artist who'd just begun making waves in the industry. But after that night in Manhattan, his trajectory changed forever. According to the official story, when the shots rang out, it was Shine who pulled the trigger. He was arrested, charged, and ultimately convicted of assault, reckless endangerment, and gun possession. He maintained it was self-defense, but the court didn't see it that way. Meanwhile, Diddy and Jennifer Lopez walked free. No charges stuck to them, but years later, the whispers started. Shine began speaking out. In interviews from Belize, he hinted that he'd been used, that Diddy, his mentor and boss, let him take the fall. One of his most direct quotes, "I was absolutely the fall guy. Puffy set me up." He claimed that key witnesses were swayed, that evidence was spun, and that while he went to prison, Diddy stayed silent and safe. Enter Suge Knight. From prison, Suge has amplified those claims, adding a new layer. In a recent podcast episode, he stated flat out that Jennifer Lopez lied during questioning, that she told police the gun was Shine's, even though she allegedly knew it belonged to Puffy. Suge paints it as a coordinated move to save Diddy and bury a rookie artist. Whether that's fact or frustration, it adds weight to Suge's narrative that a young rapper was sacrificed to protect a power couple, that J.Lo and Diddy weren't just lucky, they were protected. And if that's true, it begs the question, what else were they hiding? The idea of a fall guy isn't new in hip-hop, but this one, Suge suggests, involved lies, manipulation, and a silence that sent the wrong man away. And decades later, he's still calling it out.
The victim is saying that Puff shot him.
Right.
I didn't say that. That's what she said.
You never said that, bro. Like, right? For decades, though.
And I still maintain my position. I was defending myself. I didn't see what anybody else was doing.
Suge's tape allegation. Suge Knight isn't new to controversy, but in 2023, he dropped a claim that even by his standards turned heads. On his prison podcast, Collect Call with Suge Knight, he said something few expected, and even fewer knew how to process. According to Suge, when the FBI raided Diddy's properties in 2024, they didn't just seize weapons, files, or hard drives. They found tapes, not just any tapes, allegedly compromising videos of Diddy and Jennifer Lopez from the late 90s and early 2000s. Suge says those tapes were intimate, revealing, and powerful enough to destroy reputations. But the wildest part? Suge claims the FBI didn't keep those tapes for evidence. They handed them over. To who? According to Suge, Ben Affleck. In a hushed, deliberate voice on his podcast, Suge said they wanted to show him some things about his wife. So when he sees the SOD her and Puffy were doing, he'll never look at her the same. It was a cryptic sentence, but the implication was explosive. That Ben Affleck, the Hollywood A-lister married to Jennifer Lopez, was shown secret footage that shook his marriage. No one has verified the existence of these tapes. There's been no official statement from the FBI, no leaked footage, no public confirmation, but Suge doubles down. He claims that this was a courtesy extended to Affleck because of his public image, his whiteness, and his perceived political connections. To Suge, this wasn't just a scandal, it was a chess move, one that, he says, ended a marriage and reopened a decades-old wound. But here's the thing, it's all coming from behind bars. No proof, no documentation, just a voice on a phone and a trail of destruction. So the question becomes, what's more dangerous, the tape or the story about it?
Okay, we want to show you some things. This about your wife. When he see this that her and Puffy were doing and who they were doing it with, I'm quite sure they gave his ass those tapes. And I'm quite sure he can never look at her the same.
Ben Affleck and J.Lo, the divorce theory. In the spring of 2025, headlines exploded. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez were separating. After just 2 years of marriage and nearly 2 decades after their original early 2000s engagement collapsed, the couple's reunion had fizzled out. The official story: irreconcilable differences, rumors of distance, creative clashes, and media pressure. But according to Suge Knight, that's not the whole truth. On his podcast, Suge paints a different picture. He claims the real reason behind the split wasn't a fading spark or a career clash, it was those alleged tapes. He insists the FBI, after raiding Diddy's homes, handed Affleck footage showing J.Lo and Diddy together in ways that would shatter any relationship. Now let's be clear, there is no public proof that any tapes exist. Ben Affleck has not commented, neither has J.Lo, but the timing is what gives this theory traction. In early 2024, Diddy's properties were raided. Just months later, Affleck and Lopez were living in separate homes. By early 2025, they filed for divorce. Coincidence? Maybe. But Suge wants you to believe it's cause and effect. He adds another layer. He says the FBI gave Affleck those tapes not out of legal duty, but as a favor, that they wanted him to know who he was really married to. It's a claim that spins law enforcement into a shadowy role, casting the entire raid as something more personal than procedural. No court documents confirm this. No footage has surfaced. But in Suge's version of the story, Affleck didn't leave J.Lo because of Hollywood drama. He left because he saw something that couldn't be unseen. True or not, it's a theory that hits hard. Because it's not just about celebrity gossip, it's about power, betrayal, and the idea that secrets from 25 years ago could still end a marriage today. The night that never died. If Suge Knight's version is true, then the Club New York shooting wasn't just a chaotic celebrity incident. It was ground zero for a web of silence, manipulation, and long-term fallout. And it's that night, more than any other, that he keeps circling back to. December 27, 1999, Jennifer Lopez, Sean Combs, Shine, gunfire, a tossed weapon, an arrest, a cover story. According to Suge, it was never just about who fired the shots, it was about who got protected and why. In his podcast, Suge claims that J.Lo and Diddy coordinated their statements to shield themselves and send Shine down the river. He says Jennifer lied to police about whose gun it was, pointing the finger away from Diddy. He even suggests that the gun found in the car wasn't just conveniently placed, it was planted. Shine has echoed parts of this for years. He's been vocal about feeling betrayed, about being abandoned by the label he once called home. He served nearly a decade for that shooting and came out changed. No longer a rapper, but a political figure in Belize, forever marked by what happened that night. But Suge adds something darker. He suggests there was more going on that night than what made it into the papers, that the entire event was tied to deeper business deals, deeper threats, and possibly footage that's never seen the light of day. He never names his sources. He doesn't offer details. But he insists the incident wasn't spontaneous. It was strategic. A moment that's haunted everyone involved, especially now that some of it may have resurfaced during the 2024 FBI raids. To Suge, this is the moment the mask slipped, the point where fame, loyalty, and survival all collided, and the consequences still unfolding. 2 decades later, he says that Knight's secrets are still costing people their freedom and their marriages. Suge's motive, truth or revenge? So why now? Why is Suge Knight locked away in prison, out of the game, with no label to run and no empire left, suddenly pushing these claims about Diddy and J.Lo? Is he revealing truths that were buried too long? Or is this just the next chapter in a decades-old grudge? Let's be real. Suge Knight and Sean Puffy Combs have history, bad history. The East Coast-West Coast beef didn't just take lives, it made enemies. Suge always saw Diddy as soft, polished, corporate, the opposite of Suge's raw, street-coded empire. And after the murders of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, that tension never fully died. Now, with the industry shifting and Diddy facing legal scrutiny in real life, from civil lawsuits to federal raids, Suge sees an opening, and he's not wasting it. He's turning his podcast into a platform, not just for storytelling, but for payback. He says he's exposing the truth. But let's not forget, this is a man known for spinning narratives. Suge has a long record of using chaos as leverage, whether it was pressuring artists, running studios like fortresses, or calling out rivals. He's always operated through intimidation and spectacle. That doesn't mean he's lying, but it does mean he has a motive. He's got nothing to lose, and a legacy he's trying to reshape from behind a phone cord. Some say he's bitter. Others say he's finally speaking freely because prison stripped away the filters. But either way, it's clear. Suge doesn't want to be forgotten. And what better way to stay in the conversation than to drag 2 of the most famous names in entertainment into a new controversy? Truth teller or troll? That's the question. But if Suge's goal was to make people question what really happened back then, he's already halfway there.
I tell you what, Puffy, your life is in danger. Because you know the secrets. Who's involved in that little secret room you guys participating in. So, you know they're gonna get you if they can.
Industry silence and strange coincidences. As Suge's claims make their way through blogs, podcasts, and whispers in the industry, there's one thing that stands out louder than all the noise: the silence. No public response from Diddy, nothing from Jennifer Lopez, and Ben Affleck, not a word. For a story this explosive about alleged FBI tapes, hidden betrayals, and a marriage allegedly shattered, you'd think someone would say something, deny it, dismiss it, threaten legal action. But no one has. And that silence, Suge says, it speaks volumes. Even 50 Cent, who's never been shy about clowning rivals, took subtle shots. In social posts, he alluded to tapes and said Affleck probably sick after what he found out. He never said names, but everyone knew who he was talking about. Then there's the timing. The federal raid on Diddy's homes happened in 2024. Within months, headlines start popping up that Ben and Jennifer were living separately. A few more months, and it's confirmed divorce filed. Now that could be coincidence. Hollywood marriages fall apart all the time. But Suge's theory, it says that wasn't just bad timing, it was a bomb going off behind the scenes. Some bloggers have even pulled up old quotes from J.Lo where she says she never wanted to talk about that night in 1999 again. Some fans claim she's visibly uncomfortable when the topic comes up in interviews. And in the Affleck circle, rumors say he always hated being asked about Diddy. So what are we really looking at here? A web of bad luck? Or a cover-up unraveling in slow motion? Suge wants you to believe it's the latter, that everything lines up too cleanly to be a fluke. That when people stay quiet, it's not always out of peace. It's sometimes because they know the truth would be worse than the speculation, and in this case, that silence might be the loudest clue of all. Facts, rumors, and the line between. With so much smoke swirling, it's time to separate what's real from what's just rumor. Because while Suge Knight's story is packed with drama, mystery, and hidden tapes, not everything he says checks out. And not everything is a lie either. Let's start with what's confirmed. Sean Diddy Combs and Jennifer Lopez were together in the late 90s. That's fact. They were at Club New York the night of the 1999 shooting. Fact. A gun was found in their SUV. Fact. And Shine was convicted and served nearly 10 years. All documented, all real. Now here's where it turns. Suge claims J.Lo lied to police to protect Diddy. There's no public record of that. He says the gun was actually Diddy's. Again, no evidence confirms it. J.Lo was never charged. Diddy was tried and acquitted. The only person who took the hit was Shine. Suge also claims the FBI showed Ben Affleck secret tapes recovered during the 2024 raid. There's zero confirmation of this from any official source. No leaked footage, no statements from Affleck, no documents, just Suge's word. But here's the twist. Sometimes the absence of proof doesn't mean something didn't happen. It just means it hasn't been proven. That's what Suge is counting on, that the gaps in the public record are enough to make people doubt the official version, and he's not alone. Fans online have already started spinning theories, pointing to the timing of the FBI raid and Affleck's sudden split from Lopez. Some even claim Affleck's interviews seem colder now, more guarded. At the end of the day, this story walks a tightrope between documented fact and high-level gossip, between what we can confirm and what Suge says went down behind the curtain. The line is blurry, but the curiosity it stirs, that's crystal clear. And it's exactly what makes people keep listening.
So I wouldn't even want to remember what was happening at that moment because I'm so far removed from it. But I could give you the surface of it, which is, defending myself. And that was the only reason I fired a weapon, because I thought that my life and my friends' lives were at stake.
When did you know it's getting extremely serious?
When the person pulled out the weapon.
I'm talking about even after. When do you know, like, okay, this shit is, like, this is getting bad?
Obviously, my position was try by 12 rather than carry by 6. So I'm happy to be alive because I know those guys. And all it takes is a second, for them to act first. And, a few of us could have been gone. And we see it every day. We see, people, no matter how famous they are, lose their lives. So don't think it can't happen. So for me, I was happy to be alive, but definitely not wanting to be in that position. And again, thanks to my guy, Manny, who was the one that bailed me out. Obviously, I felt remorse for anybody that got injured, but I wasn't the only one shooting. There were a bunch of people shooting that night. And I was shooting in self-defense. And ultimately, we found out where the victim is saying that Puff shot her.
Right.
I didn't say that. That's what she said.
You never said that, bro. Like, for decades, though.
And I still maintain my position. I was defending myself. I didn't see what anybody else was doing.
Truth, power, and the cost of a story. Suge Knight's story might never be proven. There may never be tapes. The FBI might never confirm what they saw or what they didn't. Jennifer Lopez will likely never speak on it. And Ben Affleck, if he did see something, he's staying silent. But what's clear is this. A story doesn't need evidence to take hold. It just needs tension, mystery, a crack in the official version of events. And Suge's claims hit all those notes. A decades-old relationship, a shooting that altered lives, a breakup that seemed sudden. Add the whisper of a hidden tape, and suddenly everything feels like a cover-up waiting to unravel. Is it possible? Maybe. Is it true? We don't know. And Suge, he's fine with that. because while the world waits for proof, he's already succeeded in putting his enemies back in the spotlight, under his rules, in his version of events. It's a warning, really, that the past never stays buried, that secrets, even if they're only rumors, can outlive careers, marriages, and reputations. That sometimes what you don't say speaks louder than anything else. And it leaves us with one final question. If a man in prison can shake the ground under Hollywood and hip-hop with just his voice, what does that say about the people on the outside? Was Suge telling the truth, or was this just one more power play from a king who lost his throne, but not his reach? You decide. If you think there's more to this story, drop a comment below, like if you learned something new, and subscribe if you want more stories that go deeper than headlines ever will, because the story isn't over. Not yet.